What is up, everybody? Welcome to Outside the Box. It's Tuesday, February 15th. I'm Cristiano Simonetta, the play-by-play broadcaster for the Lincoln Stars, joined alongside by the goaltending and assistant coach for the Lincoln Stars. It's not Rocky Russo, it's Art Bry. Art, what's going on? Thanks for subbing in for Rocky and joining me for the next hour.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. I'm super fired up to be back on the airwaves here.
Yeah, you were already on an appearance for about 30-something minutes. Were you a little nervous? I know you have a long, storied playing career in front of plenty of cameras, but when you get behind the mic, it's a little more different than just coaching up a goalie here.
I definitely have had a lot of practice. I'm not good at it, though. I think with all those practice reps, you would think you'd get more comfortable, but I still get nervous, still have those anxious nerves a little, but it's all good. You definitely do a great job of making me feel at ease. So,
well, thank you. I remember when I interviewed you for the first time, I did a lot of research, and there's a lot of Art Bry 2015, 2016, like Clark Cup videos after games. Did you like that? Well, I mean, you were finding success in the playoffs, but if you perhaps lost a game as a goaltender and a reporter's in your face, Art, what do you think went wrong here? How did you take those interviews?
I think for me, it was just kind of part of it. Right. You get to the big stage, you get to the higher levels, and you kind of have to answer for your play a little bit, whether it be to your coaching staff or your teammates or even fans. Right. You kind of have a responsibility to them. But the media is no different, and kind of how you manage that. It's hard at first, but at the same time, I know you're not a fan of them, but the cliches, right? Mm-hmm. You just go back to them. A lot of we talking about the team efforts, things of that nature. So I didn't mind it. I definitely just think it's part of it.
Cristiano Simonetta with you alongside Art Bry, the Stars goaltending and assistant coach. Producer Carter, what's going on? We haven't had a chance to talk to you. We didn't talk to you last week, so we really appreciate you being patient with all of our guests. But hey, just in case the ticket listeners and Stars listeners don't know who you are, give me just a little synopsis of you perhaps going to UNL here or whatever the background is. We want to know about producer Carter.
Yeah, so I'm Carter Longy. I produce all the weeknight shows here from 6 p.m. on, and once in a while you might hear me on the mic doing a show if somebody can't make it in.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm a freshman at UNL. I'm from Tioga, North Dakota. It's a little town about 1,000 people up in the northwest corner, about 60 miles from the Canadian border and 60 miles from the Montana border, so way on up there. And then, yeah, I already said I'm a freshman. But I'm studying sports media and communications and broadcasting.
Nice.
And I just started here at the ticket. This is my beginning of my third week. So, yeah.
Feeling a little more confident getting in this?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a learning curve there at the beginning, especially with the stream. We still kind of have technical difficulties with that. I think Big Sky, who was here before me, was about the only guy who knew how the stream ran completely. So we're still kind of trial and erroring it with that. But I think we're getting it pretty close figured out here.
Typical Ethan just leaving us after we were just starting up, but best of luck to him in Iowa. North Dakota, that's not too far from some of your playing days, huh?
No, it's right up the ways a little bit, yeah. How are you liking your freshman year so far?
It's been going well, yeah. I enjoy all my classes. Working here has been fun, and it's been a great experience so far, and I'm definitely glad I ventured out and went elsewhere. It's also the warmth is nice as well. I know this is uncharacteristically warm for Lincoln and Nebraska still, but it's still about 30 degrees warmer here on the average day, like pretty much any day of the week. So,
and what made you kind of want to go down this path of sports media and broadcasting?
Well, initially, winding down towards the end of my junior year of high school, I always kind of envisioned myself going into something in business, finance, marketing, something like that. But then COVID hit, quarantine hit, and I've always been a big sports nut. So I decided, hey, I'm just going to start my own podcast, post social media posts, write blog posts, and kind of just do it for fun. And then I realized I really, really like this. And, growing up, I always thought the career as a broadcaster or a writer or anything like that was kind of unrealistic. I just didn't really think it was attainable because obviously you only see the guys on big time television. It's like, oh, wait, there's like a lot of other entry level jobs that you can get and kind of work your way up. So I looked into it more, and the North Dakota colleges don't really have much for these kind of programs either. So that's another reason I kind of headed out. But yeah, that's kind of how I came about the decision to go into the business, and I'm glad I made the choice.
And then one last question before we stop grilling you and get to some Lincoln Stars hockey. Do you have any hockey background? Are you a fan of it? Do you like watching it? What's that about?
My hockey background is pretty much non-existent.
Okay,
I will not lie at all. Yeah, I never really watched it much, and people are usually like, really? Because you're from North Dakota. But I think it's a really misinterpreted fact that hockey's big in North Dakota. I think it's way bigger in Minnesota for sure. I can definitely say that much. North Dakota, for some reason, hockey's just not as big, even though it's right by Canada, right by Minnesota. But Yeah, never been a huge hockey guy, but I did go to my first Star games this past whatever.
Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday.
Well, you're the bad luck charm,
yeah.
clearly, because we came up short. So you're never allowed in the ice box again. But no, we should definitely be able to get you out there some more. How was that first experience? I know more questions for producer Carter. You're listening to Outside the Box on 93.7 The Ticket.
It was really fun. So again, I don't have a huge hockey background, but my brother went to school at UND. I don't know if you guys are familiar. They got a pretty good hockey program there, a couple-time national champions. So I went to a game, 1 or 2 games there before, and I am definitely a big believer that hockey is like 10 times more fun for me anyways, that when you're there rather than like watching on TV. I don't ever really get into it as much on TV, but actually being in the arena is fun. And the Stars do a great job of like the in the icebox experience. Like it is really fun. Like I give them props for that.
And if you guys have any questions for Carter, Art, or myself, you can call 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, or text us 402-464-5685. And Art, you usually were cutting up some video in the beginning part of the year as an assistant coach, but you were on the bench the last couple of games. You were on the bench during that home game against Omaha. And I know you've been on the bench for third periods throughout the season, but what was that like, experiencing something that Carter had experienced too, that in-game atmosphere of the icebox where everything is just magnified and intense?
It was great. I think that's definitely something that as the season has been rolling along here that I've been doing more and more of. So for those of you that don't know, generally for the first 2 periods, I am up top with the laptop in the crow's nest, so to speak, up kind of where you're at. And I have a game feed plugged into my laptop, and I'm cutting the clip. So if there's a shot on net, we got a key for it. It clips kind of a 15-second clip there. That way at intermissions or even after the game, we as a team are able to go back and kind of take a look at some certain situations, some certain plays, maybe some defensive breakdowns, or even if we're having success offensively, we're able to see that in real time. So I've been fortunate enough to be getting on the bench for the third period, which has been an absolute awesome experience for myself. I think that's one area of my coaching that I really have yet to develop. I've obviously been coaching now for a couple of years here since I stopped playing, but being on the bench, getting involved in the game, kind of seeing it from that perspective has been a new experience, but it's been great. It's been a lot of fun. Rocky and George and Corey do a phenomenal job at managing that bench, and the guys also respond very, very well to them. So for me to be able to step in there, I'd like to think we didn't skip a beat, right? So yeah, it was great. It's been a lot of fun, and I really look forward to getting those opportunities.
And you've been coaching 2 of the top goaltenders in the league all season long, Cameron Whitehead and Caden Mbarico. The Stars were in Sioux City on Friday night. We've gone to Sioux City a couple of times over the last 2 weeks. We've come away with victories both times. This one started off, you guys were under siege for the first 9 minutes. 2 goals in the first 8:55, Caden Mbarico. It could have been 6-0 after the first period. So what was the message in the locker room after you guys were down 2 heading into the second period, where Sioux City, they're a team that can put pucks in the back of the net. They're an intense team off the rush, and that's why they're able to jump out early.
Well, I think for us as a team going into that battle there, we were a little depleted. Right? Our lineup chart was a little bit light, and we had some injuries. We had some guys unfortunately suspended there. So I think for us was the message was keeping it simple. Right. When you try to do too much, you try to overcomplicate things. That's generally when you have breakdowns or you're stuck in your zone, things of that nature. So the message to the guys was, right, a lot of hockey left. Settle down here. We got that period out of the way. Let's just get back to playing our type of hockey, which is fast, which is transitions, which is pucks on net. So that generally was a message. And when you have a guy like Mbarico in there playing like he was, especially early on in the first, it's very easy to look to him for some confidence, right? The guys, obviously we were under siege there, but knowing that Berkey's back there, shutting the door, making some phenomenal saves for us, it allows the guys to just get a little bit more comfortable and to get things going in the right direction, which we were able to do.
And how have you seen, whether it's your playing career, now coaching career, where you're watching either the Stars or opposing teams, how important is that position of goaltender when you are under siege in the first 20 minutes, you're only down 2-0, but then you have seen on the other side of the coin, we're playing against teams that allow, 3 goals in rapid succession. You could really see the momentum on that opposite bench deplete. So how important is it to really rely on that one guy who wears the largest pads and has the most responsibility?
Well, I'll be honest, that was a big reason I got into it way back when. I love the pressure, having the game in your hands, so to speak. So for me as an athlete, it was something that, you know, I relish and I look forward to, and I gain some motivation and confidence from. But now that I'm on the coach side of things, right, you see what it does to the entirety of your team, not just the individual in the net. You see how it affects the defensemen. They play a little differently when they know you're back there. Forwards will take a little bit, maybe some more chances, or even they'll work harder back for you because they're seeing you make some fantastic saves. So from a coaching staff perspective, I think goaltending really is everything. And kudos to you know, the management and the staff here at Lincoln to understand the importance of having a goaltending coach full time. And you know, when I was able to jump on board with the squad here, great opportunity for myself, but it also kind of shows how currently it's somewhat of a neglected position, right? You have that guy in the net, and you kind of just throw him into the net and say, stand there and stop the puck. And if he does, you don't really like cheer for him. You just like, okay, well, that's your job. And when he doesn't stop the puck, then it's like, okay, we have a big problem. So first team I think of are the Oilers, right? They're in some hot water right now with their goaltending, and they've looked everywhere else except the goaltending coach, right? Like, he's still on board, and they've had some pretty poor goaltending over the years. So it's one of those things where as a sport, it's trending in the right direction, bringing guys on board to work with your goaltenders, both physically and mentally. And I'd like to think that we have a pretty good thing going on here in Lincoln.
You are listening to Outside the Box. Call us, text us, 402-464-5685. Cristiano Simonetta alongside Art Bry. And Art, you kind of mentioned your goaltending career. Will not spoil the Great Clips trivia question of the week, because you can win a family 4-pack to a game next week, whether it's Thursday, STEM night, 6:05 p.m. puck drop, or Saturday against Sioux City, Star Wars night, February 26th. So the question of the week, which we may talk about, obviously, in segment number 2. Art, you won 2 Clark Cup titles in the USHL. Who did Art win his first one with, and what year was that? Text us at 402-464-5685. We posted on social media, so a couple of early contestants. Carter will get me that name in segment number 3. But when you're watching other goaltenders now, you're not focusing on Caden or Whitey, and you see Dashiell Oliver's goal in the third period of Friday's game, a shot from the near side goal line. Were you just shaking your head and saying, you know what, I teach our guys to glue themselves right to that post, especially on a rebound?
Yeah, it's really fun and funny to see when other goalies aren't doing it, or to see when our goalies are doing those type of things. We have a phrase here of get there, then get up, in relation to how you get back and recover to that post. So, yeah, if you just were to slide into that post and seal the ice, guess what? That puck hits your pad. It's an easy save. But when you have, you know, less attention to detail, you kind of forget that seal, and pucks find their way into the net. It's kind of like a little funnel there. So, yeah, it's definitely funny to see those type of things with other teams.
And how big was that for a 16-year-old kid, Dashiell Oliver, who hadn't been in the lineup since December 18th? Was really buzzing. And something that I really noticed from him, the kid out of Indiana, is his physicality. I mean, he stands about 5'9". The first 2 periods, he throws 2 huge reverse hits. Sioux City definitely circled him on the line chart and said, all right, let's get to this kid physically. Let's knock him off his game. But he had some other ideas, and that really opened some eyes.
Yeah, Dash, he is an absolute treat when he is in town. Obviously he takes off here and there, and we want him back here down our stretch. But for being such a young kid, you know, he takes his off ice training incredibly seriously. He takes his on ice training incredibly seriously. So to see that physicality, and to just know him as a person and how much effort he puts into his weight training and his nutrition and things of that nature, it's not surprising. It's really not. And you saw the confidence that he has, and his skating is great. He flies around. He's not afraid to throw pucks on the net. He's not afraid to throw pucks on the net and go pick up his own rebound and throw them on the net again, clearly. So to see him pop that one, everyone on the bench was super, super fired up for him. And you should have seen the smile on the kid's face when he gets back to our bench, right? So he loves the game. He plays with a lot of passion, and he takes his craft really seriously, though. So to see the success that he has when he is in town, it's no surprise.
We have Carter. Yeah, we have a question off the text line for Art here.
Perfect.
Toughest USHL place to play, obviously, other than the Icebox.
It's a great question. Thank you, Carter.
This is a good question, because I'm sure they know the answer. Probably it is the Icebox for sure. I remember I've told Cristiano this story. one of my first real road weekends in the USHL my rookie year, and we had a pit stop in Lincoln, and I remember standing on that blue line and with the Star coming down and AC/DC playing and the light show, and man, I was freaking out. I was freaking out, and then literally 5 minutes in, I couldn't tell you who, but they walk inside the blue line and just lean into a slap shot, and it came on me so quick. It just hit the top of my head, and actually cracked my helmet and left a huge welt, which you would think happens often, but as a goaltender, it never happens. Like your equipment protects you really, really well. So after that, I looked around, and the place is losing it. And then that's when the Stars had Mike McKee and Jackson Tygrove, and they were a tough squad. So definitely the Icebox is up there. And then I would have to say Waterloo's a tough place to play when they're sold out and they're screaming and they're yelling. They got their cowbells. And then you pair that with the Olympic sheet, so the game happens just a little bit faster. Yeah, so I would say the Icebox first and foremost, but Waterloo's right behind there.
And you could join the text line 402-464-5685. More questions for Art, myself, or Carter. You're listening to Outside the Box. Still talking about Lincoln's last weekend. Big win over Sioux City, and we couldn't even be talking about it if not mentioning Caden Mbarico. 36 saves, 38 shots against. He's just so dialed in. There were so many opportunities off the rush in the first couple periods for Sioux City, and he just stared them down, had so much confidence. And in the third period, the Stars finally get a lead. They get one goal from Dash. They get another from Luke Johnson, who had 2 power play goals on Friday. And it's number 30. Time and time again, late in the game, he came up with some big saves. What was your conversation with him like after that performance? Because since he came back from the World Juniors, abruptly ending too early, he has just been a different goaltender, but more so the goaltender that he just is.
Yeah, absolutely. We sat down today and we actually did our video. So every week we'll go through the shots, we'll go through our game clips, and we have different teaching points, and we'll kind of design maybe some drills for that week to work on some things. So when we actually sit down and we break down that game film, he was really, really good. And I'm not just saying that, but when Caden's on his game, he is so strong on his skates, right? And we all know those skates are really, really thin. So when he's flying across his crease out there, he's moving on his feet, he's tracking pucks into his hands. He's athlete first, right? And when you see him doing those things and tying them all together, he's on his game. And you pair that with a really crazy work ethic. Like, I know a lot of goalies that work really hard. One of my good buddies, Colin Delia, plays for Chicago in the NHL, and Caden's work ethic is up there with his, right? So he has the NHL mentality of putting in the work, paying attention to the detail, sticking to the process. So to see the success that he's had in the past couple weeks here since he's gotten back, I'm not surprised. And it's a tough situation for him to realize that goal of getting to World Juniors, and then for it to kind of be taken away like that. It could have gone one of two ways. It kind of could have crumbled him, and he could have been upset from it, but he used it as motivation. And he's able to use that moving forward, and he's carried that with him into his play here in Lincoln. So he deserves all the success that he's having, and he's worked incredibly hard for it.
And then you have a goaltender like Cameron Whitehead, who you came in the summer, or you were hired in the summer after the ownership change in around June. You get brought in to Lincoln Stars camp, and Cameron Whitehead is this 10th round pick, played in the NCDC last year with the Utica Junior Comets. I personally didn't know a lot about him. I was in the draft room, and I knew Billy Puglisi and company wanted him, so they selected him, I think 146 overall. And as soon as camp began, I think I remember me and you having a quick conversation. He really stood out, and he showed a lot of good things. So what was your first impression of number 39?
It's funny. My first impression of him was kind of my first day on the job. So I get here and everyone's looking to me to kind of be the goalie guy and give some evaluations and things of that nature. So I was ready to go with my notepad. I was watching every goalie. I'm taking far too many notes. I'm watching intently. And Cam's first game, I think he had like 5 shots on net. Like he didn't really have very many shots on net. So I was like, okay, so I can see his movement. I can see kind of how he follows the play, things of that nature. But I really wasn't getting a taste of what he had to offer. So I actually had to wait till day number 2 to kind of get a glimpse into what he can offer. And with someone like Cam, you had mentioned he came from the NCDC last year, right? So really not a league that, you know, is incredibly talented. It has talent. That's I'm not saying it doesn't, but he has the size, right? And that's a big thing that he has to his advantage is he's 6'3", but his reach is a lot longer than that. Like his arms are really long, and then you pair that with his flexibility. He's like Gumby out there, right? He's all over the place. He seals the ice incredibly well when he does go down to his knees. So you see those intangibles, right? And I remember talking with Billy, our assistant GM, and Billy loves him. Billy really has done his homework on him, and I trust Billy, right? And I was fortunate enough to meet a couple other scouts for different teams there, and the NHL scouts that I talked to, they were high up on him as well, and it had to do kind of with his reach and his size and his skating ability. So, yeah, I definitely think that as the months have gone along here, we've been progressing. Cam he's like a fine wine. He just keeps getting better and better. Obviously, we're working on a lot of things to add to his game, but he's incredibly coachable. He works incredibly hard, and he's another kid who just loves being in the net and just loves the boys and just loves playing hockey.
You're listening to Outside the Box on 93.7 The Ticket. Cristiano Simonetto alongside Stars assistant and goalie coach Art Bry. What was that like for you? I've talked to Cam about this, but after that first start against Cedar Rapids in Pittsburgh, that big showcase where there's so many scouts, colleges, NHL scouts. Whitey wasn't even committed to a college at that point. And when he had that big start where it was 29 out of 30 against Cedar Rapids, allows a power play goal in overtime against, that was his only blemish. He got so many calls and so many meetings. What was that like for you being the goalie coach, the guru per se of the Lincoln Stars, and only your first couple of months on the job there?
A big reason why I decided to get into this was this service of others. Right. My background is sports psychology, and I got into that because I wanted to help athletes. I wanted to help people with their performance. So for me to kind of be a part of that experience with Cam, right, because that's his experience that he got to live, to see the sheer excitement and joy and happiness that he expressed. I remember after that game, he was talking to a bunch of scouts, and we had a moment where it was just me and him kind of left back in the locker room, and I told him just to sit there and kind of just soak it in, like be very mindful of the moment, right? Take those mental snapshots, realize what you had just went through, and his smile, when I say it was from ear to ear, like I mean it. Like his pearly whites were showing. He was giddy like a school child, right? So to be part of that and to see someone who, right, like, because I haven't worked with him up until that point, but I know he's put in the hours with his other coaches and his trainer, and the times at the rink when no one else is there and he's doing his thing. So for me to kind of be on the outcome aspect of that, to where he finally had that game and he finally gets the attention and he's finally talking to schools, it's a big reason why I got into this, just to share and be a very, 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 very small part in someone's success, helping them in any way that I can. So to say I live vicariously through our two guys is an understatement, but yeah, I just want to help really these guys any way that I can.
And how essential is that little part? I like how you said that little, because you don't want to be everything as that voice in the kid's ear, because goaltenders, as you know, I mean, they can either take things, as you mentioned earlier, the right way or the wrong way. And I forget which NHL goaltender said this outstanding quote, but it was like, normal people at their jobs, they make a mistake and nobody really knows about it. But as a goaltender, you make a mistake and you have a red light flashing behind you and there's 20,000 screaming fans. It's a little bit different. We'll break down your position. Once again, when we come back from break, you're listening to Outside the Box on 93.7 The Ticket.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all. O Street Carpet. 1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Based right here in Lincoln, Mosaic in Southeast Nebraska is part of a nonprofit, whole-person healthcare organization that serves people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Mosaic's mission is to relentlessly pursue opportunities to empower people. By providing truly personalized services, this empowerment ranges from helping someone communicate for the first time to helping another gain enough independence to secure a job. If you would like to learn more about Mosaic in Southeast Nebraska's services or to donate, please go to mosaicinfo.org/Southeast Nebraska.
If you're worried your friend may be struggling, remember, you don't have to be there to be there.
You could say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You can ask with an app if it works for you. You could write them a text or knit them a sweater. If you can't be together, you could write them a letter. Whatever gets you talking. Whatever gets you talking. You could chat on the game, kick off your flip-flops. You can ask on your couch while you binge watch. However you do it, you gotta ask a friend. And if they don't share, you can ask again. Whatever gets you talking. Whatever gets you talking.
Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and the JED Foundation.
Are you tired of lousy internet and faceless customer service? It's time to experience local, honest, hassle-free, and exceptional. That's the Allo Promise. We not only provide crazy fast fiber internet, crystal clear TV, and dependable phone service, but we choose to become a part of the communities that we serve and love when everyone calls or stops by our store to say hello. So, don't settle for mediocre, settle for exceptional with Allo. Visit us at allofiber.com/local.
Shopping for insurance can be a tedious and frustrating task, but the agents at Brokers Insurance Agency will do the work for you. They have partnered with over 20 of the best insurance carriers in the nation, which allows them to do the shopping all for you. Whether you're looking for business insurance or employee benefits for your company, or you're looking to save money on your home and auto insurance, Brokers Insurance Agency has the agents and solutions to help meet your goals. Call 402-420-5353 or email staff at brokersinsurancenE.com.
Parents, if you've been waiting for FDA approval to get your teen vaccinated, the time is now. The FDA has approved the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine for use in preventing COVID-19. While this is the first vaccine to gain FDA approval, all COVID-19 vaccines have been proven to be effective against the coronavirus. Want to reduce your teen's risk of hospitalization while protecting yourself and your community? Get your teen vaccinated today. Visit vaccinate.ne.gov to get started.
Do you know the signs of an opioid overdose? Talk to your physician and pharmacist about naloxone, a drug used to safely reverse an opioid overdose. I'm Dr. Rob Rhodes, a Nebraska family practice physician. Be Opie ready and download a free overdose support tool, the Opie Rescue app. Search Opie Ready for more information.
Paid for by the CDC. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Can I touch this? Where does sand come from? Is this tree good for climbing? What happens if I mix these two things together? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Storing your guns securely is the best way to prevent family fire, including unintentional shootings. For more information on safe gun storage and ways to keep your family safe, visit endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org.
What do we keep in the attic? What's this thing called? Can I ride my bike backwards?
Like I said, kids are curious It's up to us to keep them safe. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Outside the Box with Lincoln Stars head coach Rocky Russo and Stars broadcaster Cristiano Simonetta on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You are listening to Outside the Box on 93.7 The Ticket FM. I'm Cristiano Simonetta, joined alongside by Stars assistant and goaltending coach Art Bry. Text us, call us, 402-464-5685. Art, before we get back to that one quote I was talking about from either Terry Sawchuk or Jacques Plante, this show presented by Empyrean Brewing Company, who's excited to offer local beer choices at Stars games this year, which includes Lincoln's Empyrean Brewing Company. Their new beer, Sunslinger Extra Pale Ale, is a wheat-centered ale that is low on calories and carbs. It's also surprisingly flavorful with lemon highlights for a refreshing, easy-drinking beer. Enjoy other popular beers from Empyrean, like their award-winning Long Route Peanut Butter Porter, Mind Over Mango IPA, and Goal Line Amber Ale, sold only at the Icebox. That is an exclusive starting this year. Cheers and let's go Stars. I asked Rocky this, I think a couple weeks ago, but have you had a chance to dabble with the Empyrean Brewing Company beers after some wins at the Icebox?
I was just about to jump in. I'm a big fan of the Mind Over Mango.
Okay.
That is a good one.
Carter's not old enough yet, I don't believe, so we're not going to ask him that question. We're not going to get 2 six-packs in here for Carter. But any questions for myself, Art, or Carter? Again, 402-464-5685. Oh, we got one.
Got one. It's kind of a loaded question. I don't know how long this might take to explain. But,
sure, we got plenty of time.
Can you explain from the top down, each level is in hockey from NHL all the way down to the lowest level?
Well, Art got a little farther than me playing because I never played organized. So do you want to take I guess go from the top down and see where we go?
I guess it's not too challenging of a question. So you have the NHL, obviously. The feeder into that is the American Hockey League, or the AHL. Feeder into that is the East Coast Hockey League, or the ECHL. And then below that, you have the Southern Professional Hockey League, or the SPHL. And if you want to take it one step further, you have the Federal Hockey League. Right?
Great teams. Yeah, great teams
FHL.
In that league. FHL. Still around.
So those are your ranks of pro hockey. Below that, obviously, you have major juniors up in Canada. So those of you that don't know, there's a gap between youth hockey and playing professionally. So you can either go up to Canada and play what they call major juniors, or you can stay within the United States and play the college route, or go to an NCAA institution. So below the professional ranks, you have the major junior leagues, the Western Hockey League, or WHL, the OHL, the Ontario Hockey League, and then you have the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. So those are your big 3 major junior teams or leagues. And then obviously NCAA Division I. And then below that, you have Division III. And then obviously you have the club teams and the
Go Illini.
Right. So you have those guys. And then below that, you have junior hockey within the United States. And that's kind of where the USHL, the league that the Lincoln Stars play in. Below that, you have the NA, or the North American Hockey League, which is a Tier 2 junior league. And now we're getting into the Tier 3 junior leagues, and there's a whole bunch of them. And then obviously you can talk about Junior B. So did I miss anything there?
No, I
Anything
think that's, I
jump
hope
in there?
whoever asked that question, that was a very concise and quick to the point answer. And we are in the USHL, which is one of the, the best Tier 1 league in the United States, obviously. These guys, 16 to 20-year-olds. Again, if you're just listening to the program for the first time, we love these type of questions. So keep them in. If you're hearing anything we're talking about and saying, what the heck are they talking about? Seriously, call us, text us, 402-464-5685. So yeah, 16 to 20-year-old kids. It's crazy. I'm 25, but I'll call them kids. You're 27 or 28 now. Happy belated birthday. By the way, you share a birthday with Curtis Brown, the Stars Director of Player Development. Did you guys, have a joint celebration in the locker room, or what was that?
No. On Saturday, I got into the coaching room and Doc's in there, and Rocky goes, "Hey, Doc, happy birthday." And I pop my head up. I'm like, "Hey, it's my birthday too." So I had to throw my name out there. And so we got to find out kind of spur of the moment, which is obviously pretty cool there. And then he started rattling off a bunch of other people that have February 12th birthdays. And so apparently it's a pretty popular birthday.
And we go right back into that question that was asked, the ranks of professional hockey. You played in the SPHL. You also played in the ECHL with Adirondack a couple of years ago. How cool was that? I mean, I know you grew up wanting to get to that level of hockey, and that season, your last season, 2019-20, was shut down prematurely by the pandemic. But just what was going through your mind the first couple of times you were looking around at either Adirondack after years at St. Lawrence University, saying, wow, I'm really doing this right now?
Yeah. I actually had the opportunity to leave St. Lawrence early. So my senior year, during my time in the USHL, I took some college courses, which kind of allowed me to be a little bit ahead of my graduation date. So my senior year at St. Lawrence, I had the chance to sign. Adirondack actually had 2 goalies go down with some illness. So my agent, I was actually sitting in one of my psychology classes, and my agent was blowing up my phone, and I can't answer this. But when your agent calls you about 5 or 6 times in the spur of 5 minutes, you're like, okay, something is going on. So I answered it. He said, "All right, do you want to play? You want to play pro? I got an opportunity." I said, "I got to call my mom." So I actually had to text my mom first and make sure that she was okay with me leaving school early. She has obviously been nothing but supportive for me. So she said, "Let's do it." So I did it. That was on a Wednesday. Thursday, I ended up driving up to Adirondack or down, whichever way that works. And then the next morning, this is where the story gets fun. I have a rental car, so I have to drop off the rental car, and now I'm stuck at the rink, and we're hitting the road later that day, and there's a morning skate. I guess on day of games where we're on the road, the Thunder, they don't really have a mandatory morning skate. So it was all the healthy scratches or the guys who weren't playing or whatever. So me and Michael Sadeo, who was on the team,
which is crazy,
drove me to the practice facility for us to morning skate. So for those of you that remember, Sadeo was a coach here previously, and just me and him in the car. So my first real interaction in pro hockey was with a former Lincoln coach
and player. He was a heck of an enforcer.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then that night, obviously, getting to play against Manchester, the Monarchs, such an historic name, right? There were a couple times where I got to just look around and just have a big smile on my face. First game didn't go too well. I let in 6 goals. We lost. But it was a really cool experience, and just all of pro hockey is a great thing to accomplish and be a part of.
Carter, what do you got?
We have a call on the line. So
all right.
We'll patch it through. Caller, you are live.
Hey guys, it's BA, long-time listener, first-time caller.
What's up, BA?
Hey, I got a question for Art. Back in his USHL playing days, he played in the smallest rink that I've ever seen in Sioux Falls.
Yes.
Talk about how that affects him as a goalie.
Great question.
Yeah, that is a good question, because for those of you that aren't aware, because that rink is no longer available, the corners behind the net, they weren't any corners. It was basically just a little funnel. Think of like a pill shaped, like really, really narrow corners. You also had a neutral zone that was a lot shorter. So when we talk about, plays transitioning, coming back into the zone, they happen fairly quickly. Not only that, when you have a D zone, a defensive zone that has that funnel type setup, a lot of pucks just get thrown on net. So I learned early, because I got to play there on the road my first year, that you got to be ready. You got to be on edge. You can't be caught sleeping out there. So it was tough at first, but once you adjust, it's actually a lot of fun, because plays happen really quickly, and you got to stay locked in. So yeah, really cool question.
Thanks, Carter, for patching them through. Again, you could join BA, Brandon Anderson, call in 402-464-5685. You talked about the ECHL a little bit. We mentioned the AHL. I know you wanted to give me a little shameless plug.
Yeah. You got to go call Iowa Wild game?
Yes, sir.
Against the Grand Rapids Griffins?
Yes.
How was that?
It was an unbelievable opportunity last Thursday. We've had crazy schedule. We had 3 games the weekend before.
Yeah.
We had 2 last weekend, but I had 3. I called the Iowa Wild Grand Rapids Griffins game on Thursday night in Des Moines. Ben Giselson, who was the previous voice of the Des Moines Buccaneers when I first came into the league, I was this 23-year-old kid, just worked for the Athletics, so I had a little bit of a chip on my shoulder and was comparing myself wrongly to other broadcasters in the league. And Ben was a guy who really stood out. And I said, hey, Ben, let's keep in touch. I'm a real big fan of what you do. He moved on to the Iowa Wild, where he's now the lead play-by-play voice. And he sent me a text last week. He said, hey, our game's on local TV. So I need someone to fill in on the AHL TV, which is the equivalent of hockey TV if you're a Lincoln Stars fan and watcher, and the radio. And he said, can you drive up to Des Moines and do it? And I said, yes,
absolutely,
100%. And my girlfriend, Caroline, who is just an absolute angel, went with me and accompanied me to the trip. And we had an awesome time. And the game ended in a very strange way. I don't know if you saw it, but it was on Spit and Chicklets, 15 seconds into overtime. Iowa Wild win the opening faceoff, and they have the defenseman and the forward ready to drop a play. And Art, you've seen this plenty of times where guys fly by one another. They're like, all right, we have this little they're not really saying what they're going to do. They're just going to do it. Well, these guys had their wires crossed. They went and crushed each other. They had the puck right behind the net, and the puck shot to the slot right in front of the net. Guy hits post.
I did see that.
That was the game that I called.
You called that game?
Yes.
Wow.
So that game ends 15 seconds in overtime. And I'm just like, it was a crazy situation. And what a, welcome to the league sort of thing. And Bob Kaser, who's called the Grand Rapids Griffins for 31 years, he talks to me after and says, I've been calling this team for 31 years. I've never seen anything like it. So you're going to have a great career. And I said,
was that one of the players looked like he was down?
Yes. Kalen Addison is still injured for the Iowa Wild.
Injured from that.
Yes. He collided with Mason Shaw behind the net, and he was down for 3-4 minutes, and he had a goal and assist in that game before that. And that was just, I thought it was the Truman Show with Jim Carrey. If you ever seen that movie, unreal movie, where you're just like, are you kidding me? But I never really like talking about myself, Art, and stuff like that, but I appreciate you mentioning it. Some of the guys listened. I had family and friends listening. It was just super cool to get that opportunity, especially in a rink like that.
Yeah, I know. I was fired up for you. I know everyone was fired up for you. Obviously, I get to see kind of behind the scenes.
Yes, you
do. A little bit more of a plug for Cristiano here, but I get to see all the hard work you do and how attentive you are to your craft and the note preparation and the pronunciations and the facts and
Bray.
Right. Thank you. Right. You're the first to defend my last name, how you pronounce it.
Oh my gosh.
So super fired up for you. Very well earned, well deserved, and definitely a sign of what's to come.
Thank you. Carter, you got something else?
Yeah, we got some text line again here. Again from Pecan Pie. Pecan, I don't know how you guys prefer me to say it, but
it's not good. That's my stance.
I love pecan.
Okay, all right. Well, a house divided.
Anyways, back to the levels. Where does the Chippewa Steel sit in the juniors? And a second question to go on with it, kind of. How do the kids get invited to your summer tryouts?
So Chippewa, is that in
BC?
the? I think
Or the OJ? No,
that's in the Null, isn't it? It's in the Null. Chippewa.
Okay, so
Yes.
it's in the Null.
I think we've had some Lincoln Stars try out players who played in Chippewa. But how can they get invited to our camp or attend one of our camps? Art, you know that very well.
Yeah. So obviously we have some camps coming up here. I know for the local community, we're actually offering a spring clinic. So that would be your first opportunity. That's definitely more geared for the younger generation. I think if you're talking about actually getting an invite to our main camp, you're gonna have to, be anywhere from age 16 to 19, a little bit older than the youth scene. So we got that opportunity. I would reach out to the coaching staff of the Stars. I think that's the first and foremost, especially if you're a local Lincoln kid. I know we're trying to make sure that we're representing our local community here moving forward. That's something that management here is wanting to take great pride in. So I definitely think reaching out would be a great start. But at the same time, also we have an extensive scouting network out there. So if you are someone that is local, sending us your hockey resume and then just keep doing well in the league or the team that you're on. Obviously there's two sides of that agreement. We got to find you, but you also have to be being an effective player at the level that you're at. So hopefully that answers that question, and it would be absolutely fantastic to see some Lincoln-born players.
We'll wrap up the show after break. Send us some more questions, 402-464-5685. You're listening to Outside the Box on 93.7 The Ticket.
Based right here in Lincoln, Mosaic in Southeast Nebraska is part of a nonprofit, whole-person healthcare organization that serves people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Mosaic's mission is to relentlessly pursue opportunities to empower people. By providing truly personalized services, this empowerment ranges from helping someone communicate for the first time to helping another gain enough independence to secure a job. If you would like to learn more about Mosaic in Southeast Nebraska's services or to donate, please go to mosaicinfo.org/Southeast Nebraska.
The Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council present the story of Cynthia and Ed.
My mother was always very active and independent, and she was familiar with her neighborhood. But one day, out of the blue, she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. And she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn or just stay at the stop sign. She wasn't even really sure where she was at. She was very concerned. It was very unsettling for her.
It's important for you to talk to someone about it, to bring the family in on it. I felt so much better after my son told me, Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you and we'll figure it out.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your first alert weather forecast tonight, cloudy and cooler. Overnight lows 30. A colder day and cloudy Wednesday. The winds pick up out of the north, gusting to 30. Highs only around 36. I'm NTV Chief Forecaster Ken Fountain for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Bagels & Joe is ready for winter with white chocolate raspberry cream cheese, great on any bagel. And try a grilled Italian panini for lunch with ham, prosciutto, banana peppers, and provolone on a sun-dried tomato bagel. Bagels & Joe, 4 Lincoln locations.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $22.07 per hour and other select jobs starting at $23.77 per hour, with wages growing up to $29.71 per hour. Continental also has salaried jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Now what do? Football is over. The weather's crappy. Man, I tell you what, it's a perfect time to go car shopping. This is Carl from Price Right Auto. Come out to Price Right in West Elk and you'll find over 100 great vehicles at some great prices. With our non-commissioned sales process, we let you control the sale. We won't let you get a lemon since we back every one of our vehicles with our peace of mind 3-month warranty. If you want a hassle-free car buying experience, check out our website, PriceRightAuto.com. Come see a great selection of affordable used cars on West O Street at Price Right Auto.
You spend more time in your garage than outdoors in the wintertime. Isn't it time to get it organized? Call Travis at Classic Garage Solutions for his variety of organization packages. Turn your garage from a cluttered mess to a clean, organized space that'll be the envy of the neighborhood and something you can be proud of. You don't need to bring the same clutter from last year into the new year. Travis has storage options for cabinets, monkey bar shelving, or slat wall, and more. Call Classic Garage Solutions today at 402-730-1638.
Start your weekends with The Ticket's High School Saturday. DP and Rico bring you updates and reaction from the week's prep sports action in Lincoln. Every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to Outside the Box with Rocky Russo and Cristiano Simonetta on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What does this song make you feel like? Because we've had the best reactions from all the guys just jamming out in the breaks, but you hear this in the locker room, that Lincoln Stars win.
And now conditioned to celebrate. Now you want to pump it up. We just got a W. So
I think Sioux Falls plays this song though in their ring, and I think it's very, very funny because it may just pump up our guys if we're down a goal late in the third and Sioux Falls.
Secretly. Yeah, no, I definitely it's it's a great song, especially for a win song. So super cool.
You are listening to Outside the Box on 93.7 The Ticket, or you're watching us on a live stream, twitch.tv/93.7 The Ticket. Text us, call us. We've got a couple minutes left in the show, 402-464-5685. Let's start this segment with the winner of the Great Clips question of the week. Who did Art win his first Clark Cup title with, and what year was it? Art, you can answer this question for us.
Who are the Dubuque Fighting Saints?
I love the Jeopardy answer. Yes.
In 2013.
Do you remember the exact day?
I think it was March 17th.
Okay. Was it St. Patrick's Day?
Or the 12th. One of the two.
It's okay. You got the victory.
I think those are the two dates of both of my accomplishments.
And Carter, that was the answer we're about to say. That was the correct answer, right? Written up. Dubuque.
Yes.
Perfect. Perfect. So, Derek Hoyle, you have just won a 4-pack to either Thursday's game or Saturday's game next week. I'll reach out with a text for you. Derek Hoyle, congrats. You have won a family 4-pack. What was the party like after? No, I'm just kidding. But what was that?
Very mild, and we were in bed very early.
Yes, right after puck drop, you showered and you went straight home. But no, how awesome was that to not only be a part of one, but two Clark Cup winning teams, which is, you have guys in this locker room probably asking you that every day as the playoffs are starting to roll around come April.
Yeah, I definitely, obviously, I'm not one to talk about myself or my accomplishments, but I think more than anything, as a player, it was great. As a coach, it allows me to have some insight. I was able to win it, as the starting goaltender, going all the way with Dubuque, and then with the Stampede in Sioux Falls, I was actually backing up in the playoffs. So we split the entire season. Come playoff time, we went with one guy. He got hot. Stefano Slekis plays for Wheeling Nailers in the ECHL. Absolute great guy, really good goalie. So for me to kind of be the guy leading the charge, and then also, having to be a supportive teammate, I got to see both sides of it and realize the importance of both roles. So if anything, it's just allowed me to be a better coach and kind of share that experience and try to turn it into maybe some teaching lessons or some learning lessons for the guys here.
Switching gears, is there a favorite NHL goalie that you like watching? Maybe someone you had some ties with as a player, or maybe just fresh, I really like the way this goalie plays. Here's a guy who I'll model for either Caden or Cam.
Yeah, so back in the day, Marty Turco and J.S. Shiger. That was just guys
Legends.
that I watched. But more recently, you have a lot of really, really talented goaltenders in the league. Guys like Igor Shesterkin with the New York Rangers. Sorokin with the Islanders, UC Saros with the Predators, Andrei Vasilevsky with Tampa Bay, John Gibson in Anaheim, although I think he's a little lazy sometimes. He's still incredibly talented. So I think the most important thing is to take bits and pieces from certain guys. Like, one guy's going to play the puck well. One guy's going to, his post play and how he moves on his feet, right? So finding little nuances of each guy and kind of bringing them to the table as examples for Caden and Cam is something that we've kind of been doing all season.
So who's your favorite goalie of all time then?
Favorite goalie of all time? I'll give a shout out to my boy Hank Lundqvist, just because he got the jersey retired. But for me, it's got to be Hank. Hank's the man. He always looks good. He always plays good. So I'm sure he always feels good.
The saves that he would make, whether it's a mass save, he'd throw the blocker out, drop the stick, and the windmill. It was just such a shame that, he never got to win a Stanley Cup. And of course it comes against, the LA Kings that year, where they were just an absolute menace.
Poor Hank never had the goal scoring. So he really couldn't get past, that. So poor guy, but heck of a career, and definitely someone that transformed not just the game, but the position and the gear, how you wear the gear. So
with the USHL and NHL trade deadlines looming, do you like when goaltenders are perhaps on the move, or do you think it's just too much of a change of scenery for maybe a contending team?
I think it depends. I think for some guys, it's exactly what they need. Some guys, get stagnant in the environment that they're in. So by getting on the new squad, you kind of revitalize some stagnant energy, or some motivation, confidence, however you want to look at it. So, but it also kind of goes the other way. Sometimes when you bring a new goalie in and he can't find his groove, he struggles. So I think it all depends.
Yeah, I'm very burnt by Ryan Miller's acquisition. St. Louis Blues being traded from Buffalo. He came in his first 4 games, 4-0. All right, this is it. The Blues are going to win the Stanley Cup. Plays against the Chicago Blackhawks, just gets torched the first round 6-game series.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Goaltending's a funny position. It happens.
One last quick note, Art, before we send it off. Is there one phrase that you could tell any youth goalie or, current NHL goalie? What is advice from Art Bry?
Puck's going to come to you anyway.
It's a great way to
Just
sign
let it come to you. Don't go get it. Let it come to you.
All right, Carter, thanks for joining us. Art, thank you for subbing in for the last
Thanks
hour.
for having me. This was a blast.
You're listening to Outside the Box on 93.7 The Ticket FM. We'll see you next Tuesday, 8 to 9 p.m.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived in Philadelphia. Local time is 3:05 p.m. and the temperature is 67 degrees. At this time, you are now free to use your cellular devices.
You know that feeling when you get to turn your phone on after the plane lands? You can have that feeling every time you drive. Make sure your cell phone is stowed away whenever you are behind the wheel.